Very good morning, friends. Today I'm really excited celebrating the 72nd Republic Day. It's very close to my heart. There's something that I've been working for quite some time, and I think great opportunity today to share this vision of mine, which I've been working for quite some time. And I'm something extremely crucial and critical for each and every one of us, irrespective of which geography we belong to. It's all about a future and what is that we need to be working towards for the upliftment and for the future. So let's get started. In this video, I would actually be talking about a research report which was published in the year 2018 by Kornferry. I think it's extremely important for each and every one of us to. So, this video will be of two parts. So, in this part, I will be talking about the global talent, current, and the future status based on the report from Kornferry. And I would also be talking about India's strength, about its current educational demography and demographic dividend about the population and other things. So let's get started. What Conferry had said is they have done a report stating between 2020 and 2030 for a period of like one decade between 10 years how the global talent is going to have an impact. The world would actually have some kind of a shortage in talent, but not something which is going to be of a great difficulty or of a great challenge. We will have to agree that their prediction and their research is close to the reality. So typically what they said is in 2020 across the globe all the major economies would have more so ever surplus talent or equivalent talent of whatever is required, whatever is the requirement they have. And not much of the geography would actually face a major talent crunch. But in 2030, what they said is the global talent would actually have a major crunch and it would be a crisis situation. Across Europe, they would have a talent crunch of close to minus 56%. Americas would also have a shortage close to minus 48%, and Asia Pacific would have a shortage of minus 30%. And if you typically look at, except for in India, every other nation will get into a talent crunch, and India is the only country which would have the required talent or probably a bit of more excess. So let's have a look in a clear manner, keeping the entire globe. In 2030, if you typically look at US, China is going to have a talent crunch of close to 12 million, maximum around 12 million, and Russia, Australia, and South Africa probably will have a deficit of up to 6 million. But Brazil, Indonesia, the side it's going to have a major talent crunch of close to 18 million. Now, if you typically see this particular globe, it shows that except in India, everywhere there is going to be a talent crunch, and India is the only country which will have a surplus talent by 2030. The impact of this global talent crunch is estimated to be close to 85 million workers of shortage, which would have an impact of close to $8.5 trillion of unrealized revenue. And mind you, that's much higher than the combined economies of India, Australia, Brazil, and Africa. Now, this is something which is certainly a point that each and every one of us need to be concerned about, because it's not just about a specific geography. We are talking about across the globe and for our future generations. Now, can India help the global economy? Yeah, I'm sure it might seem to be a pretty overconfident question, but trust me, it is an absolute possibility. Now, let's see how, like Vivekananda mentioned, give me 100 energetic young man and I shall transform India. Trust me, he spoke about this probably around 8 or 9 decades back, because the importance of youth. And one of the great presidents that India had, Mr. Abdul Kalam, he said, "We will be remembered only if we give to our younger generation a prosperous and a safe India, resulting out of economic prosperity coupled with civilizational heritage." Now, it's such an important aspect where he's talking about the cultural and the value and principle based approach, and what is that we give to our younger generations and aspects. Let's look at the India strength. India enjoys the maximum youth population today across the globe. And mind you, this reminds me of one of my recent discussion. In fact, it was as recent as last Friday, while I was actually interacting with one of the uh, highly respected HR leaders, senior HR leaders from India, who is the senior partner and chief talent officer of Deloitte, Mr. S.V. Nathan. He specifically mentioned the statement that India needs in for itself, and India is needed for the world. And he said India is the oldest country with the youngest population. Now, what I said is absolutely right. The statistics very clearly mentions that 65% of our population, Indian population, is under 42 years of age, with a median age of 28.4, extremely young and youthful population. And we know this complete population, the ethnic, this generation is dominated by millennials and Generation Z. Now, we will talk about what is the relevance and importance of this particular aspect of millennials and Generation Z in a shortly. But let's look into the other aspects of India's strength. India, as a country, has a maximum number of qualified professionals across services, engineering, and all the new age skills, including your robotics as well as artificial intelligence. And it enjoys an excellent strategic relations with over 29 countries across the world, including the powers like USA, UK, Japan, and other major powers. It's been a preferred destination to hire skilled manpower within technology, medicine, finance, engineering, etc. So typically, if we look at, we enjoy strength, and it's time that we wake up and we support the global economy. In 2030, India will have 47 million of workforce surplus. So we would be able to help these two, one, China as well as US. And apart from that, we will also be able to help many other geographies with our major talent pool. But mind you, if we are not ready, then all this surplus manpower or the talent is going to have a major problem in the socioeconomic levels as well as at a political level, because it might give rise to a lot of unemployment issues. Importance of having this maximum population dominated by millennials and generations in now. They are extremely smart, extremely tech savvy, and they are present across social media, and they do not consider the geographical distance as one of the barriers. For them, along with their growth and success, thing what is very important is community upliftment and social welfare. If you look into the graph which is mentioned here, you can notice that for them, the top seven, whatever it is important in their life, is professional development, upward mobility, and community. Third comes the community, and compensation comes in almost close to the sixth. And the brand or the prestige of an organization, they really don't care, because for them it's not about I, it is more about we, in contradiction to what was there in previous generation people. And for them, it's not about what is written on the walls of in an organization, but what exactly is practiced. Do they practice and walk what they talk? So brand or prestige of an organization really doesn't matter, but if an organization is working towards a community or a social upliftment, they are in and they give 100% support to it. non-compromising in nature, unlike the previous generation. Previous generation, we adjust and we compromise in situations and environment, but these kids, youngsters, they do not compromise. They're non-compromising in nature, and I do not consider that to be a point of concern. In fact, that's a huge big positive thing, because they know what they want. They're very clear with how they want to grow, and they create a path in a collaborative and team spirit manner, irrespective of which geography or where they are working, because they are so digital and tech savvy. So they communicate, they collaborate across geographies, and they try to work towards. Now, next one is, we typically look into the demography of Indian education. Less than 5% of the total population are graduates, and around 33% of the population have not been educated even up to the primary level. Urban population up to 95, 94% of the people are educated, but in rural sector, if you typically look at rural side, less than 3% of the population have the required amenities or the facilities. But the positive thing is, now this is changing in India. And the positive and the timely move is the new education policy of India, which was mandated and which was released in 2020. Now, you could go through and Google and browse through it and find out what exactly it comprises of and why it is very important. This talks about skill upliftment. This education policy is going to actually have a major impact for the benefit of not just for India, but for the upliftment in the global field. Now let's see, how can India help the global economy? Typically, if we look at, we spoke about the population demographics, how young is the population of India and what is the educational aspect of India. So the two things that if we are able to capitalize and look towards, it's going to be a major plus. One, capitalizing its strength on demographic dividend. When we talk about demographic dividend, we are specifically talking about three aspects. One, education. Second, empowerment. Third, healthcare. Second is enhancing its educated and employable population. Now, let's see, how can India capitalize its current strength? First and foremost, extremely important, increase the percentage of qualified population in India. The current population which is there is around 4%. If you're able to increase that to close to 15% and increase the employability of these qualified population to around 80% from the current 25% by end of 2036, it's going to be a huge plus. And how do we do that? That we will be looking into the next video. When we talk about qualified, we're not talking about just being certified, but we're talking about wisdom along with the education. Please go through the recent video where I was conversing with SV Nathan, and he very clearly defined what is the meaning of talent and what does education comprise of, right? What are the three important aspects of education? So it's very clearly explained. I'll give that in the description of this particular video, and you could go and browse that. The second most and important aspect is India accounts to close to 4% of the world GDP. If this can be increased to 12% in the next 10 years, that is by 2032, then it will result in the upliftment of global mankind and humanity. And how? It's very simple. Today, less than 1.5% of the people in India pay income tax. Now, if that percentage can be increased, which we would actually go in detail in the next video, but however, if that percentage can be increased, then it is going to really help. So the two important aspects, increase the educated population along with being employable population. The second one is increase the percentage of India's share to the global GDP. How this needs to be done and what all needs to be done to achieve this, I will be discussing shortly in my second part of this video, very detailedly what are the aspects needs to be concentrated on, what needs to be done, how it needs to be done. Thank you, friends. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Subscribe to my channel and check out for the next part of this video. Jai Hind.